Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Modern Woman Profession. Today we got a nice video. So let's see what it say.
You, there. What is your profession? Doesn't it?
Today. This wife thinks two's company, but three's a problem. Megan and David have been married for 6 years, but she claims he constantly asks his ex-wife for advice on their relationship. Will ex-wife number 1 cause Megan to become ex-wife number 2?
This is a wrap. How can you marry someone and then you ask for ex-wife advice? That's mean that you're not fully committed in that one relationship, and that's also mean you chose the first wife first and instead of the second wife. So the problem is, who initiated the first divorce? Is it the guy who initiated or the woman? If the woman initiated the divorce first, you should not be able to go back to this wife. You should be able to cut loose of the situation, cut loose the contact, and don't even battle. Because what happens is it's gonna be battle back and forth between those female. They don't like each other, and next thing you're gonna be in between, and next thing you're gonna be in a position that you're gonna pick, and the one you're gonna pick is a new wife. That's what you made a choice with, and that's what the one you're gonna be in the house for. So basically, do not jeopardize that and then go back to the ex-wife. That's a mess right now.
David Berger and Megan Berger have brought their dispute for Judge Lynn Toller to resolve. Testimony in divorce.
Wait, burgers and burgers. Burgers in court. Wow, that's messed up. Wow. Anyway, let's see what it says.
Court starts now.
I have here before me today Mr. David Berger and Megan Berger. The two of you have been married for almost 6 years. And there's a lot of things that you want to discuss with respect to finances. $16,000 in cash that you want to split. Televisions. There's a great deal to go through, and we will go through that momentarily. But I want to point out is that, Mr. Berger, you're here with your ex-wife, Kelly Elizabeth Contis. How are you?
Wait. This is sad. Again, why you bring your ex-wife with the new wife in court, and then your ex-wife is sitting next to you? That's a mess. Let's see what else.
How are you?
Good.
Which I think is fascinating.
Me too.
And we're going to find out why she's here momentarily. I will say this, Mr. Berger, purely on a physical level, you have great taste in women.
I agree, Your Honor.
You know, and obviously.
What do you mean? Wow. Yeah, he liked that sexy skin. I don't blame him. Yeah, he got a good taste. Fit. That's one of the things I call CAR. Appealing is very good. So the guy know his taste pretty well. The judge is on to something nice.
You've kept it civil with the ex-wife, so you got
Yes.
something going on over there, Mr. Berger. So I'm going to start with you. Why don't you tell me what the primary issue is with the current Mrs. Berger?
Well, Your Honor, the biggest problem.
Wait, let me guess. The first one was the burger that sits on the chair. Now the ex was the burger. So he got two burgers, huh? Interesting. Wow, the guys love their burger nicely.
That we have is financial, and it tends to go with she's very forgetful with money, and as well as other things as far as paying bills. We had lost 2 vehicles at different times, based solely on her either not remembering to pay the registration, so they got impounded, and another where we didn't have the registration, and she chose to drive the car out, even though we were in an area where she was more likely to be pulled over for any reason, in Canyon Country. So she did, and they impounded the car. So we had lost 2 cars. We've had multiple things shut off because she forgets to pay them.
Well, that's a problem. How can you be a wife and you forget? That's why you guys need to buy a notebook or to have a reminder. So for you to have that set up so you can always remember. I know you're always busy in your life going, but realistic, that's what they see a woman. The realistic standard is that if you have a loose memory, you should write it down or have a calendar or reminder for you just to pay your bill on time. Otherwise, you can always get behind, or she probably use that money for something else. You already know.
We recently had a gas bill for $7.32. I don't know, or a while back, but I don't. It still hasn't been paid, and it's $7.
And you got the $7.32.
It's $7.32.
You got the money.
You know.
No, that's a bit of a problem.
Come on, $7? Wow.
I mean,
She
it's
just hasn't managed to pay it.
We have a couch with it. You know, I mean, you could find it on the way to the bill place, and it's so, you know, and I mean, she's an amazing person. I love my wife. It's just her inability to focus, to get involved, to be
To handle matters, to make sure everything is taken care of, the things that she needs to do, she's doing.
Yeah, just her parts. Yeah.
Her part. Now, you're a stay-at-home mom, correct? Are you failing to manage the household? Are you not taking care of your business?
I will say, in a sense, yes, I'm.
27. Nice. But she needs to do something with the hair though, because the hair look like very immature.
Emotional damage.
That's depend on her background, because most people from Jamaica, they love their hair like that. But you know, at least cover it up, put some wig or something. That would be more natural and more beautiful. But otherwise, the peeling is good.
I'm very flighty. I have horrible focus issues. One thing that he failed to mention is I have Crohn's disease and I have health issues, so I'm dealing with this a lot. I'm tired a lot. And in regards to the car, well, yes, I did. The first car we got at an auction, and I stupidly threw away the papers because they were in an envelope, and I just was cleaning up, and so I threw them away. So
Which she does a lot.
Yes, I throw away important things all the time.
Now, I'm going to give you a little break. When you married her, she was 21, correct?
Correct.
And now you're 27. That's old enough.
Damn, this guy Burger loved that young, 21. That's what happened to people back in the day. Women marry young, between 21 to 25. This is where you need to have your relationship. This is where you need to build a family, because when you start at 21, by the time you're 35, you should be able to go back to the workforce and be able to move up. And then by the time you're 50, even though if you were staying home, and then by 50, if you work 15 more years, you are able to have your college money for your kids and then for yourself, and then your lifestyle is going to be higher. But back in the day, this is what it is. But today, fast forward, everything's backward. They want to marry at 35, and then now they want at 50. They feel like they need a higher life, so they want the 6 figures, so to cover those years they've been spent between 21 to all the way up, which is kind of like the 6 figure come from, which is why the professional woman, they just want after the money, relationship done for love. But as you can see, she started at 21. That's me start a relationship with love, which is a good start. Let's see what else.
Yes.
Did you know what you're doing?
Yes.
You know what I mean? I was trying cases at 27. I had to read and all that. You weren't getting it open? I'll open it for you. Come on.
And I'm about that. I hate meandering. I can't. It's like when you're walking behind someone and then you're moving at move. Get from A to Z real quick.
Now, I'm gonna fuss at you.
Yes.
You met her, right?
Yes.
Before you married her.
Yes.
You knew she was a meanderer, didn't you?
No. Let me say, when
How
I
did you miss
first
that?
met her, she, and this might be my misperception, is that she kind of came off to me as somebody who was like, I'm not going to deal in mainstream society. I'm not getting caught up in everything that I have to. I'm not going to be a cubicle person, but I have all
So
these
she was
things
going to be a free spirit as opposed
yes.
to a disorganized
I didn't
individual.
realize that was just
How
being
long
lazy.
did you date her before?
Guys, stay away from women that has free spirit, because free spirit mean they become careless at one point or lazy and they do the road, and next thing you won't be on the one and become the slack either for kids, for the household, and for the cooking. That's why he's in the situation right now. Stay on those professional women that have this free mind, because what happened, if free spirit mean that they can get away with a lot of things and then nobody gonna judge them. If they judge them, they just gonna move on to the next guy.
Or you married her?
A month.
Yes.
But we knew each other for years.
Yes. Oh, you've known each other for years?
Through comedians. Her ex was a comedian, and then so we.
But you knew
seen
of
each
her
other.
for years. You
Yeah,
didn't
we
know
did.
her for years. You
Correct.
knew of her for
yes.
years.
And if those philosophers and boy lovers.
You got blinded by the pretty, didn't you?
That's what happened with guy with friend for benefit. If you have friend zone and then a woman put you in a friend zone for a reason, because they can't get away with a lot of things. If you friend with a woman, she gonna show the good aspect of her, or the aspect she wants you to fall in love with. But the real personal of that woman, unless you're in the house with that person for a week or a day or 3 days, now you're gonna see the nice behavior, you're gonna see all the aspect of her. That's what happened with that situation. She show up the aspect that a lot of people love, and then you're able to persuade him and then to seduce him, and once it's a relationship, she not feel comfortable, and then she show her true self, and that's what happened.
I was blinded by how amazing a person I thought she was. We connected in that sense, and so it was more that it wasn't aesthetic that I was.
And I get that part, but what I would like to say is you really got to get to know a person before you live in a house with them. And if you're really that structured and she's really that flighty, that's something you have to address before you say I do.
My ex-wife is here. We were married 10 years. We've been divorced probably almost about the same. We were fairly amicable in divorce. We have 2 children. So we communicate a lot. And while we were going through problems, my ex would always offer advice and things like that, more insight to kind of, I'm a jerk.
We must be diplomatic.
And, and she's right, but how I get.
Yes, come on now, she's right, because you're a jerk. Come on, how can you marry to a young thing like this, beautiful woman like this, and she was 21, and that's what most men desire, to marry a young woman, to do your thing, and then now you keep in touch with your ex-wife you've been for 10 years, and then now you become friend with. Come on, that's disrespectful for the new woman, because she doesn't deserve it, and for that you're right, you don't deserve that woman, and then you should fix your relationship with your wife before marry the other girl, because that's a mess. And then Burger, you should know better. Go back to your ex-wife and then marry her again, and then rest in peace.
And when she was saying like verbally not abusive, but I do get ridiculous. And so she kind of would help me to regain control and realize that I do a lot of this too. And so we would talk a lot, and sometimes Megan.
Yeah, that's what does it bother you that they're so cool with each other?
No, I think it's great.
Stop the cap.
Because, they have kids together, but at the same time, like, let's say maybe going to the kids' games, they would be laughing and giggling, and it's like, okay, this is your ex, or like he'll call the kids, and then they'll strike up a conversation, and they'll start talking, and it's like, it's great that you guys are so great, and I married a man with kids. I know she's always going to be around, but sometimes it just seems like a little bit,
too much.
Yeah.
A little bit too much.
Well,
Miss hang on, Miss Cotton.
Before she go to the point, most women always do that on purpose, because the man that they love, and then she trash the man, and then the man's relationship with another woman, she gonna feel like, oh, she want to spend more time with that man, and next thing you know, she jeopardize his relationship, and then because she doesn't really need the man, she feel like the man is more attractive when she see older women like her. So that's why they tell you about promiscuous women. They love men that's women to want, and once she break up that relationship and then she find out he has a new girl, now she become more friendly, more flirty, and more open up to the husband, so they can jeopardize the new relationship that the guys in. That's why you need to stay away, so be careful.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you tell him when he's being a jerk to his new wife?
Well, Dave always thinks that he's right about everything. He is an idealist, not a realist. So I think when I was married to him, it would become to a point where I just say, yeah, sorry, you're right, just to shut him up. So
Yes.
Yeah, and then when I do that, he's like, no, you're just saying it to say it, so this is going to keep going. And so it's like, okay.
That's because I learned it from her that that's what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, just shut
I don't want to be appeased. I want to discuss it.
Right.
yeah.
Do you want to discuss it or do you want her to accept your opinion? Those are two different things.
No, I believe more so because I fully agree that you can agree to disagree and move on.
Right.
But you have to discuss things. You have to talk them out. And I'm not saying I'm great about it. I just agree that should happen.
His form of discussion is pointed and hard, and you're wrong, and it's difficult, and he's boisterous, and you feel a little bit taken aback by it. Did I call that one or no?
Yes, and it's just hard to deal with, and he doesn't agree to disagree comment.
That's not true.
No, that's...
He wants you to understand why he's right.
Yeah, his point, and you say, okay, I get what you're saying, agree to disagree, and that's not anything that can happen.
You think that if somebody really understood your position, they would know that you were right. So you keep telling them about your position until they accept it, because otherwise they simply don't understand what you're talking about.
I think I more so just repeat it till it makes sense.
Which is what I just said.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Contis. You may have a seat. I appreciate your insight. And I saw you grinning while I was talking, so I knew I had it right. Now, Ms. Berger, let me ask you this. You say that he is disrespectful to you. Seriously so. Why don't you tell me?
It's not just on an ordinary basis of being disrespectful. It could be like we're having an argument, and I have a lot of trouble sometimes saying how I want to feel or getting my point across. And so I guess a lot of times when we'll be arguing, he calls it round robin, like where I made this point, but basically I go all the way back around to the same point, and he's just like, oh my God, like what are you, like insane or nuts? Or like sometimes when, once again, I've had a hysterectomy, so sometimes I can, be a little bit out there, and so he'll call me civil, which totally irritates me.
What do you mean by a little bit out there? Are you hiding something? There's something else we need to know? Interesting.
But, we've all seen the movie, and so, just things like that. It's not on a, he doesn't wake up and say, hi, oh my gosh, you suck. But it's just when we're arguing or whatever, and it's getting really frustrating, where he feels like he's right, and I'm trying to say, like, how I feel, get my point across, and then just the words will come out. But she's very blunt, I know exactly how he is, so now I just, okay, whatever. Which just makes it worse.
I asked you to tell me how disrespectful he is to you, and you rattled off all your sins. And I think she did that because you're telling her about them all the time. What you wrote down here is you call her an idiot, a moron, a psycho, and a nut job. And instead of
What do you mean by that? I understand that the nut job, but psycho? Interesting. Remember, she's a stay-at-home woman. She doesn't really have a lot of friends, and then she doesn't really have a lot of places to go. So basically, I have to understand that that situation, she feel like trapping at home, and then you probably involved in your activity. When you get home, you should make the place more living, and then more freely, and the atmosphere should be more friendly and loving when you get home, not frustrate her and tell her everything that she did wrong. So that's what happened when they hire divorced people or single people, a family. Then when the mom stay in the house, or when they have a mom that stay in the house, or because she become frustrated, and then because she always taking order from you, and then you don't feel her welcome or wanting a relationship on the household after day at work, and then on top of that, she have less friends.
Owing he's done these horrible things, she sat up and recounted her failings and her flaws, that she's flighty, that she doesn't argue correctly, that she argues in circles, that she complains too much. That's frightening to me that he did that. You're wrong. He keeps telling you're wrong and you believing it.
Well, he doesn't necessarily
So
tell
does
me
their
I'm right.
psychiatrist,
Yes, he
by the way.
does.
So does their
Yes, he
psychologist.
does.
Yeah, so does their psychologist.
But
though.
like I feel like a lot of times he is right, and that can get so annoying. Like, not that like I have to be right, but a lot of times in certain situations he is right. Like, why don't you organize this? Why don't you do this? And it's just, God, you're like right all the time. Just stop it. It's annoying.
Not having to be right.
Yes.
But this is the thing, I don't have patience for adults. I taught special education for 10 years. I have all the patience in the world for anyone under 18.
Huge thing.
I got all day. If you're an adult, grow up, act like one. I don't have time to school you, to teach you to do this. Someone should have.
Choose your next words carefully there.
You know what someone should school you about?
What's that?
Is being patient with the woman that you say you love.
I agree.
You brought a woman into a household. You've told you were going to love, honor, and cherish her. Whatever her flaws, whatever her failures, because you've got them too. You don't live on them. You don't.
Remember, they were made for 6 years, so that's a lot of patience on my book. But again, we don't know how the things escalated between those when she was 21 to 27. We don't know how long this things take and how fast it went down the here. But at some point, the guys is trying to put a woman to be better. Remember, guys, a man tell you to something when he care about you. When a man doesn't care about you, he's not gonna tell you. That's why the women love the bad boy, because the bad boy child and terror, they don't discriminate, they don't judge, and just listening. And then she feel like, oh, you're a good listener, but the thing is, he doesn't care. He just want to have her cake, his cake, and then get out. So basically, that's what happened. When a man care about you, he's gonna speak on something and give his own advice. When he doesn't care, trust me, you're gonna talk all day long. He's not gonna see a beep out of him. So that's a game you gotta take, and then most women don't see that.
Keep beating her on the head with them and saying, you need to fix it because I don't have the patience for it. I don't have. Yeah, you do. You just decided that you don't need to show that patience. You've decided that since you're right, she needs to fix her and you don't need to do anything at all. What you're doing as far as beating up on her verbally is worse than the silly stuff she does. It's just worse. She does it because she's flighty, this, that, and the other thing, but you pick those words.
Correct.
And you crucify her with them.
Correct.
Horrible thing to do. Not
Correct.
manly, not cool. You know, you got patience for those kids, you get patience for the woman that you promised to love, honor, and cherish.
And of course, Spartans have the reputation.
Remember, he doesn't go home with the kids. The kids, he stay in school. For example, he got 8 hours in school with the kids. He gonna spend at least between 10 to 16 hours with that woman. Imagine, and also on top of that, the kids every semester, every year, a kid, then you have a new kid, and then it was over again. But the woman in the house is the same woman, like for in this case, it's for years and years and years. So basically, he kind of miss those students, but the wife always constantly does a mentality that she's never moving on to the next phase of life, and that she never graduate from the school. So that's every difference. I understand what you're just trying to say, but another point, the kids move on and go to the class, but with her, she's staying in the house with him all the time. So that's a different mentality
For the rest of her life.
Actually, that wasn't our vows.
You vowed to love, honor, and cherish, and you said that wasn't in your vows, and you don't think you need to do that. Why don't you tell me what you think?
I believe as a couple in this world, you're partners. I'm a ride or die person. You stand together, you back each other in every single thing. You always stand by each other. The reason we've gotten to the point where we fight like that is because she has failed to do that in the sense of backing me, in the sense of being there for me, and I have been there for her and backed her every time.
So how is calling her an idiot backing her up?
This started within the last year and a half, 2 years, after everything got...
You can't make this shit up.
You see, like I said, we don't know how long it's been going on. So now we can have a clear picture. He's been trying to help her for 5 years, but now the last 2 years he found that his patient run out, and then now he's telling all those bad words to this woman that she's in love with, because he said that there's no change. Remember, guys, he's like everyone. A man is not gonna change after his 30s, way unless something major happen, dramatic happen, and a catastrophic happen. It's the same for a woman. If she used to do that on your teenage years, she gonna keep doing that when she get older. And then once you find her like that, and then you keep instructing her and say something bad happen, something terrible and tragic happen, this is when they're gonna change their way. And then you're gonna be the one to clean up the mess, like being her father. She doesn't need to be a father to be at home. She's married a man that's always loving her. But at one point, after 5 years, tell her the right way to do. Remember, she was 21. She was young. She was learning about life still. But again, the guy needed to be more patient. Of course, he'd be patient for 5 years. But at 26, come on, you need to be more respectful than that. 26 years old at that time point, you're a mature, good woman. You're not kids anymore, and you don't need a babysitter to tell you everything. And that's what most women want to wait for 30, because now they feel like at 30 or 35 they are grown, they know who they are, because at between 15 to 29 they feel like they are kids, and then there's no accountable for them, and then nobody gonna tell them anything, and then nobody can hold them accountable because they feel like they're not growing up. At 30, after having all this promiscuous relationship, after having all those fun, after having all this baggage, and then now she gonna come in a relationship, she's mature, but on top of that, and she feel like she's entitled to half of your stuff and everything. But the reality is that they're not really grown yet. They're just being covered up, and the same mentality she's been doing after 15 or 20 years, she's gonna repeat that up by the end of time until something major happen.
So bad. Prior to that, none of this went on. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe in ever getting violent, any of that stuff.
Yeah, no.
Simply though, like
that's
I say,
violence. Let me tell you,
verbal.
that's psychic violence. To live in a household where somebody's drilling on who you are like that is violent.
Emotional damage.
But I'd have to do it like that.
No.
If I
No, Mr. Berger.
Yeah.
You don't have to scream it in order for it to be violence. You're an idiot. You're a moron. You're a dummy. You don't get anything. You can't back me up. You can't get it right. You're flighty and you're silly and you do stupid things. That's violence, star.
See the way she said, that's so cruel. I love her, the way she did, the way she's like, it's like, damn, that's messed up. She can act, and then, well, she's good. Well, George, well, I give you point for that. That was a good way to turn back to him. But again, guys, violence is not good, especially if you're in a relationship. Try your best to not provoke each other. And then if the man trying to curse you out and then to be violent with you and then say those words, that's most of the time the other men move on, already having somebody else in his life and trying to have an excuse to move out and then something like that. So that's what happened. That's why you see most of the men talk like that. But before the relationship, you see the men always move and doesn't argue and don't say those things. If you see the men say that, that's mean that you did something wrong and the relation is almost over. So I'm glad she went. And you can see she pointed out the man that the way she did, he said it, which is kind of cruel. But at one point also there's a part of her that you're gonna talk to the other Miss Berger, with Miss Berger gonna say that like she need to improve herself in a way because she's a grown up, and then she need to take charge and then show that she's responsible, she's a mature adult. I know she was 21, not 27, she's adult, but not only him is a fault, both of them are fault in this situation.
It's a violence to her self-esteem. It's a violence to her person. It makes her feel like she's less than by the one person in the world whose opinion matters most to her, and he thinks she's a moron. You know, Mr. Berger, you need to be a better person. You know, now if
I'm a great person, though. Let me just state that.
No, you need to be a better person. Everybody can be a better
Always.
person. See?
Yeah.
You don't accept anything. I said be a better person. I'm a great person. I said be a better person. You just accepted all of these negative things I said about you. I said be a better person, and you come back with me, I'm a great person. How great can you be if the woman that you're with feels like she's nothing when she's with you? How great could you be?
Good point. That is true.
Oh, listen, I try to like everybody, but you're working me like a job.
This is your job.
I have a long list of things that everybody wants to do. You want to split $16,000 that you have in cash.
Yes.
You want it all?
I split everything.
You want to split
Yes.
everything? So I have all the items here to be this. You want the 62-inch?
Yes.
And you want the 42-inch?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to split the $16,000, $8,000 per person. You want the laptop, and you want Garth Brooks' autographed hat.
He can have that.
He can have that.
Yes,
Garth
he can
Brooks
have the
autographed
hat.
hat. We're going to click that off. Click it.
Garth Brooks might be coming.
What
for
we
you.
can't decide on is the
might come
bedroom
back.
set. You both want all of it?
Well, if we split, because I'll probably have my daughter with me most of the time, that would make sense to take the.
Is it the master bedroom set or is the bedroom set for the daughter?
Oh, it's both of them, but yeah.
Both bedroom
but
sets.
Yeah.
And he can really basically have that just to make everything easier. I mean, I
Okay.
don't know where I would go to
Okay.
lug around furniture.
So you will be awarded all of that. That's a sign of a woman who really wants to get away.
True.
I
Free
have
spirit.
all of these listed. The possession will go as listed in his order, and this matter is adjourned.
Moral of the story, guys. No, those free spirit are lazy. They don't worry about nothing, and then if you try to guide them to be a better person, they're gonna run away, and then next thing you know, they're gonna take half of your stuff. As you can see, they separate everything half and half, and then she doesn't want to stay in their relationship. She doesn't stay in their home, and then that's why she give the bedroom so she can start a new lifetime. And if you like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and that's the next one.
What is your profession?